Welcome back, math friends. In this video, I'm going to teach you a method for doing percent. Now, if you already know how to solve the problems right here, you can skip this video. This video is for students who have never learned to do these or have forgotten, or if you were like me, the way you learned it was a nightmare. I remember having to learn these in school, and I'm not even going to tell you the method that I had to learn, but I really struggled with it. And so I figured out on my own that I could do it a different way, and that's the way that I want to show you. Different teachers teach this differently, and so you may have learned a way that is working very well for you, and you don't need to change that. But if you want to learn a new method, this will work. If you don't want to watch this video, that's fine. Just stop it and go to part 4. That's an algebra problem. But if you're interested, I'll show you how to do this. Okay, the first thing I want to do is teach you something, the rule. So you're going to have to memorize a little thing here to be able to use this method. Okay, and here's what you have to memorize. You have to memorize a proportion. And I'll explain to you what a proportion is, because that's also very helpful to know. This is the percent proportion. And a proportion, by definition, I'll tell you what, let me just bring this down a little bit. A proportion, by definition, is two equal ratios. And you may be thinking, okay, what's a ratio? I have no idea what that means. For the purpose of this video, we're going to call those fractions. So a proportion is two equal fractions. So what about the word percent? Let's look at that just a little bit. First of all, I want to divide it right there. Per means for every, and cent means 100. So this percent thing is dealing with 100. For every 100, we're going to set up two equal fractions to do percent problems. And you do have to memorize this. You cannot take this into your exam written down. It has to be in your mind. Okay, here's the first thing you need to know. We're going to put the 100 on the bottom, and it's constant. It's always going to be there, because that's what percent means. So on one of our fractions, the 100 is on the bottom, and on the top of it is whatever goes with our percent sign. So percent goes over 100. And for our other fraction, part goes over whole. And sometimes the part is called the is and the whole is called the of. So that's important to know too, that is's go on top and of's go on the bottom. So this is the percent proportion that you need to memorize if you're going to use this method. And I'm going to show you how to use it. I know that this doesn't make much sense right now, but it will. This is sort of the recipe, the formula that you need to know to be able to do this particular kind of problem using this method. Okay, so let's apply this. Let's see how it works. The first question says, what is 35% of 250? So I'm going to mark some parts here. And let me just go ahead and mark the is too. Okay, so as soon as I see that percent sign, I know that I can set up my proportion. And remember, the proportion that I memorized looks like this. And I told you that sometimes this is the is and sometimes this is the of. So that's the proportion, the recipe that I need to solve. So I come over here, I'm going to set this proportion up again. And I know that my 100 is built in right there. So do we know a percent? Do we know that piece? Well, yes, we do. It's the 35. So I'm just going to set that in right there. Now, do I know is or do I know of? I know of. And ofs go on the bottom. Okay. So to use this method, you have to get those pieces of the puzzle in the right spot. Okay, we're getting there. We've got the math to do. Now, if you've had ratio and proportion, this math is going to be a breeze. If you haven't, this may be new to you, so bear with me. It is not something that you're going to get probably the first time you see it, so just hang with me. I want you to draw what I call a peanut. It just looks like a peanut to me. Now let me show you why I can't draw it the other way. If I draw it this way, there's nothing here. So that's not going to work. I need to draw the peanut, the ring, around two numbers. And you always, always, always multiply a peanut. This is called, it's not called a peanut in real math. This is cross products or cross multiplying. So 250 times 35 equals 8750. We're not done yet, so bear with me here. Then you press your divide key, and whatever is not in the peanut gets divided. So I come up with 87.5. So you've got 87.5 as the missing part. So here is the solution to this problem. I do want to tell you that this is not a proper math statement. That is not an equation. That is just your calculator steps. So please don't think I'm writing an equation there. Let me give you a practical example with this. I'm going to try to shrink this down just a hair. I like to tell you stories sometimes to see, and that's not going to work. So let me, I don't know if this, no, that's not going to work either. You would think I would learn not to write so big. Let me come right up here. So let me tell you a little story that goes with this problem. Let's suppose that I go over to Lowe's or Home Depot and I need to buy a microwave. Okay, so I'm walking through the store and I see this microwave that I really like, and I'm going to draw a microwave right here. And the price tag on that microwave is $250. It's a really nice one. But there's also a little ticket on there that says 35% off. Okay, so I'm going to figure out how much can I save on a microwave if I have 35% off. Now 50% off is half. That's a very good savings. So 35% off, that is a good discount. So when I did my math, I came up with the answer. We already have the answer down here. We have 87.5, and that's the same as $87.50 that I can save on this microwave. So $250 is the whole price. $87.50 is the part that I save. And then this part over here is your 35%. So that's how this problem breaks down. For me, it always helped to have a story to go with my percents. I had trouble with the sentences where I couldn't tell which part was which. But that is an example of how that could be used. Okay, let's go to the next one, and I'm going to keep telling you a story. Let's suppose that while I'm at Lowe's, I see a refrigerator. I actually need to buy a refrigerator right now. And the price tag on this refrigerator is $2,000. So I asked the sales lady, is there a discount on this one? Is there a 35% off on this one? And she says, no, I can't give you 35%, but I can let you save $250. So we need to figure out what that percentage is. And that's what this particular problem is saying. 250 is what percent of 2,000? So here we do not know the percent. But we do know the part that we can save, and we also know the whole price of the refrigerator. So to do this problem, I do need my proportion that I had to memorize. So I have percent over 100. We don't know the percent, but we know the part, and we know the cost of that whole refrigerator. Okay, so now I can draw the peanut, and it's going to go this way this time. That's okay. And hopefully you remember that you always, always, always multiply peanuts. So 250 times 100 is 25,000. And remember, I'm not writing an equation. I'm writing calculator steps. So that divide by 2,000, the one that's not in the peanut, and that will give you 12.5. And so that is the percent that would go on that little green sticker. 12.5% off, which is not as good as 35%, but I still would take it. 250 off 2,000, that's not bad. Okay, the last problem says 456 is 36% of what number? Round to the nearest tenth. So first I'm going to mark off my elements of the percent problem. We don't know the of. We do know the percent. And we do know the part. So let's set up our proportion. That never changes. 100's built in, and we know the percent goes with that. And 456 is the part, so that's going to go on the top. Draw the peanut. If you'll draw it, you'll never miss the division. If you don't draw it, you'll end up dividing by the wrong thing. So 456 and 2 zeros divided by 36. And I expect this one to be ugly because they're telling me to round. So if you get something that fills the screen, don't panic. And we do. We get all of this until the calculator can't put any more 6's in there. So that is the answer I'm looking for. But they want me to round to the nearest tenth. So we have to know what that means. Tenth is 1 decimal place. So when I get finished, I should have 1 decimal place. And let me remind you of the rounding rule. It may be a while since you've seen this. I like to tell folks to think of a hill, a bell curve, and if you have a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, that's the round up side. If you have 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, it's going to stay the same. And to do this, you have to look at your neighbor. This is the tenths place, and we want to keep that. So we have to go next door here and find the 6. And let me zoom right here. Okay, so we're not going to bother the tenths place. We're looking at the hundredths place. And you notice that this neighbor right there is right here on the hill. So that's telling me that I need to round up. So this is the same neighbor right there. I need to round up. So my answer will be 1266.7. So that we are left with 1 decimal place in our answer, and it is properly rounded. So that's a good review of how to round. There's a lot on this page, and this is all I'm going to put in this video. But if you don't know how to do percents, this is a good method to learn. I like it because I don't have to move the decimal at all. And I don't have to remember if I need to multiply or divide. Okay, I'm going to stop this video and I'll see you in the next one.